Hey guys and girls, it's Ken here from OK Portugal and welcome to another episode of Portugal Farm Life. It's an absolutely stunning day today. It's going up to 31 degrees. Last week when Joaquin, our neighbor, was here and he was busy plowing the fields, it was only around 22. So yeah, much better weather. According to the weather forecast, it's going up to 36 degrees next week. I cannot wait. I absolutely love that boiling hot weather. Now, if you're brand new to this channel and this is the first time you've ever watched one of our videos, hit that subscribe button right now so you can stay up to date with us as we document our lives here in Portugal and on the farm. One of the first things we bought when we got the farm was a pair of e-bikes so we could get around without using a car. This one over here is Gina's. It's a Trek, which is an American brand. It's an e-bike using the Bosch system. So you've got a controller, you turn it on and you can select between turbo, sport, eco and tour. Very basic gears just on this side, just to change the gears up and down, and then you put a light pressure on the pedals and it pretty much assists you. This is using the Bosch active line motor and it's got a big Bosch battery on the back. Now this bike cost us around £2,000, so quite expensive, but it's a real quality bit of kit and it's been working amazingly since we got it. This one over here is my bike. This is a KTM, so it is it's an Austrian brand, I believe. It's also using the Bosch system. This one's got a Bosch Performance Line CX motor on it, so it's got their highest rated e-bike motor and a sort of upgraded kind of screen where you've got all your info and all your modes and things like that. And yeah, like also a really nice bike. This one cost about £3,000, so very expensive, but they obviously work really well. E-biking is one of the funnest ways to get around in Portugal here and to see the countryside. And as you probably already know from my other videos, I do loads of e-biking around, take my cameras with me and have loads of fun. We've been sent this bike for free from a company called Eleglide, so eleglide.com. In return, they've asked if I can just take this bike out for a ride in one of our videos. Now, I'm quite interested to see how this stacks up against our bikes. Obviously, we've got like big name brand bikes with top of the range systems costing multiple times the price of this. So the bike comes partly assembled by the looks of it. Just have to stick the wheels on and the handlebars and stuff like that. The tires obviously aren't 100% pumped up, so you're going to need a bike pump. And I'm guessing you're going to need a couple of tools just to set it up. So a couple of weeks back, I did a video on the Mimosa, which is this big lake behind our farm. And a lot of the fish were basically dying and washing up on the shores. And a couple of birds even got poisoned. And I made a video about that. If you haven't seen that video, click up here and check it out. I obviously didn't get any answers on that day. So I want to go back today. And we're going to go and see if we can find any more dead fish, and we're going to try and see if we can get to the bottom of this and see if there is something that's been poisoning this lake. It took about half an hour and the bike is built. Most of it was already all together inside the box. I just had to put like the wheel on, the handlebars, the pedals and the seat. This bike looks pretty cool for €899. That is a fraction of the price of my bike. In fact, it is the price of a battery pack, just the battery pack of my KTM. So I'm really surprised that they can put together something like this. So we're on the open road. I absolutely love cruising around on a bicycle at this time of year, especially an e-bike, because there's hardly any effort needed. And you've got the wind blowing past you, so even on really hot days, like even when it's like, you know, getting close to 40 degrees, it's actually like having a fan blowing on you. It's a really awesome way of getting out and about in the countryside here and seeing stuff. So this is basically the first bit of the dam where we came just over a month ago and we found all the dead fish. This dam is called the Barrage de Santa Gueira, or the Mimosa, and this is the drinking water supply for the Castelo Branco district. I'm actually just looking on the ground here, and here is one remainder of one of the old dead fish. But the majority of them are all gone. I mean, they were littered all over the shores here. I first found out about this problem in April, and when we first came down here, there was a guy from some bird protection agency. I can't remember the exact name, but it was written on the side of his pickup truck. And he had come here to collect a dead stork. So it had affected some birds. I'd also seen on Facebook posts that some ducks were dying and that there were a whole bunch of dead ducks on the side of the dam. And that this is a problem that's apparently been going on for quite a few years. Now, I've been doing a lot of Googling and stuff to try and figure out what's been going on here. I thought that maybe there was like a toxic algae bloom brought on by high levels of phosphates or nitrites. Also potentially, we could have a situation where the water levels were quite low because we are in a drought at the moment. And maybe due to that, there were high concentrations of like toxins and things like that in the water. So I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. But what I did find out is that this year, in April, at the beginning of April, the dam was at a level of 92.9%. And that's actually higher than the average over the last few years. So it's definitely got nothing to do with how much water is in the dam. So the water levels have dropped a little bit, but this is actually normal for the summertime. As I ride along here, I can't see any more of the dead fish. So that's pretty cool. In the shallows here, I can make out a whole bunch of little fish fry. I'm hoping that the camera's picking it up. There's just hundreds of them all over the place. So these are all the new little spawned baby fish. And these are going to become the big monsters of this dam scene. So this is only one area of the dam where I saw dead fish. I want to go around to the other side because I definitely saw a whole bunch there. And that's the main swimming section. Obviously I don't want to swim in a dam that's polluted. I wouldn't want to be drinking that water either. And another thing worth mentioning is that it's only about 800 or 900 meters away from our farm. So you've got this massive body of water that's obviously going to be pushing water into our wells and stuff like that on our farm. And if that's been polluted, then we've got a serious problem. I'm quite impressed with the way that this bike is handling. At the moment we're just freewheeling down a hill. We're doing 27 kilometers an hour. We've done 6.3 kilometers. It's working pretty well. I must say I'm pretty impressed with this bike. For the money, it's really good. Definitely as a beginner's bike. If you've never ridden an e-bike before and you hop onto this, you'll be amazed and you'll absolutely love it. This really is one of my favorite ways to get around, especially in like the height of summer. Like you get into a car today and it's absolutely boiling hot. You know, today's like 31 degrees with a feels like temperature of 34. The car's hot inside. You've got to drive around with the windows closed and the aircon on. Or you can cruise around on a bike with air blowing past you and just enjoying the scenery. It's pretty awesome. Obviously, unless you have to do something like shopping or, carrying lots of goods. But this is a really cool way of getting around and seeing the place. So this is one of the areas I came before, and there were just a whole bunch of dead fish lying all over the place. I did a little bit of research, and the APA, which is the Portuguese Environment Agency, they came and they picked up thousands of dead fish around here. I think they were assisted with the GNR. They also did some water testing from various points of the dam. Now the Environment Agency, or the APA, they say that they guarantee that this water is safe for the public to drink. They monitor this water once a month, they do tests, and they make sure that the levels haven't changed. Now obviously, because we had this problem with dead fish, they did 6 tests over 6 weeks, I believe. And what they found was that all of the parameters of the water meet the values for good condition, or are below a detection limit. And I'm just reading this little bit now on my phone. It says that there were scans of limit values for phosphorus, total nitrogen and nitrate. And but they were saying that actually the levels of phosphorus are quite normal for this dam. This dam is 650 hectares in size, and all around the perimeter is just farmlands. Nitrates and phosphates are used in farming as fertilizer, so that would explain why the levels are elevated. Now they're saying that the levels are towards the limit, but they're still within acceptable range. And they say that that's probably not what's killed the fish. But what high phosphorus and nitrate levels do is create algae blooms. And those algae blooms can do things like drop the oxygen level in the water. They did a test on the oxygen levels of the water and they found that it was actually a little bit low. But an expert from the University of Lisbon, according to this news report, said that that is not what killed the fish. I'm hoping that the camera's picking it up, but these are all the little fry. So there's lots of newborn fish. These aren't being affected by it. There's also, as you can see, there's no algae blooms along the shore anymore. So I'm not sure if this was just like a temporary glitch or something like that. But things are starting to look and smell the same as they used to before. And I really wish that I caught that on camera, but just behind me over here, a massive black bass just jumped out of the water and caught something in the air. So we do still have some big monsters in this dam. So I'm going to cycle a little bit further and go to a spot where I can swim. And this is one of my favorite parts of the Mariteca. We've got these rocks, these big granite boulders. They go right down to the water, and you get these amazing views in the background of the Gardenia Mountains. It's a lot lower than other years that I've come here. Normally this rock is completely submerged. In fact, the water levels are normally up to about this point here on the rocks, so it is actually quite a lot lower. All around us here are farms. This entire dam is covered in farms. Our farm is only 800 meters away, and we've got a dam and we have 2 wells. Now those are supplied with water by the underground sort of aquifer and water supply, and I'm pretty sure that 650 hectares of water from this dam are putting a lot of pressure into those wells and making sure that those water levels keep high. Now obviously we're in drought, we're in extreme drought actually, and some areas of Portugal are even in severe drought, and they don't exactly know when all of this is going to end. But for the time being, it looks like this water supply over here is still at really, really good levels, and it looks like whatever caused those fish to die is something that has hopefully passed. And this is going to be my first swim in the dam this year. I'm quite looking forward to it. Obviously I stayed out while I thought there was a problem with the water, but now that I've found out about all the testing and stuff that they've done, and that the water's probably okay, now it's time to go and have a swim. It's quite warm, so let's just... I have missed this dam so much. After winter, I was really looking forward to coming and swimming here. And when I found out about the fish, and you know, I thought, geez, I'm not going to be able to swim here. We're in for a really hot summer, and I was really disappointed. But now, I feel confident again to come and swim in here, and oh, I'm so glad. The summer's coming, and it's going to be brutal. I just want to say a big thank you and shout out to Eleglide for giving us this bike. It's going to be really useful for friends and family who come over and who want to join us on rides and stuff like that. So thanks guys. If you look in the description of this video just below, there's a discount code where you can get this bike with 50 euros off or 50 pounds off, depending on which country you're in. So check it out. If you've been following our channel for a while, you'll know that this is Mimosa, or Mimo for short. And she's our beautiful, beautiful female dog. She's only about 1.5 years old. And she's a mixture of Serra de Estrela and Rafeira de Alentejo, and also we think rough collie. Now she got Leishmaniosis, which is a really bad parasite. It's something that's incurable and it's going to affect her for life. She's been on chemotherapy for a while, and that chemotherapy is just ended a couple of days ago. So yeah, she lost a whole bunch of hair on her face. It's starting to grow back where you can see all these mottled bits, and she had problems on her mouth where all of her gums, and sorry, not her gums, but her lips went like all pink. And don't worry, my girl, I'm just showing the internet how you're recovering. And so she got like pink mottled lips, and they're starting to go black again. So she's on the mend. It is such a beautiful day here right now. It's 30 degrees plus, and not a single cloud in the sky. Absolutely awesome. Last week, a friend of ours called Stuart came around and helped us with our kitchen. Now, there were a couple of bits missing. He came around yesterday and he completed it all. I probably should have come in here and tidied up and stuff, but let me just stand in this corner of the room and give you an idea. Basically, it was missing these end panels, and it was missing all the kickboards at the bottom, and that's all been put in, and all the cupboard doors are on, and I think it's looking pretty awesome. We have a very basic farmhouse, and for the last like 2.5 years, we've basically had like no kitchen. We just had like a brick, like 2 rows of bricks with like a sink over the top. So for us to have this now is absolutely amazing, and we are totally thrilled. So it's been absolutely awesome, and I just want to say a big thank you to Stuart for helping us with this. Dude, you are the best, and next week we're going to have a braai. Now it's time for me to grab a beer, get into the pool and chill out, and we'll see you next week same time for another episode of Portugal Farm Life. But before we go, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and join us on patreon.com/OKPortugal, where you can help us make these videos. We'd really appreciate that. Anyway, have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you next week. Ciao.